In a Topinka administration, there will be no bid contracts. We are not going to do that. We don't do it now in the Treasurer's office. Future.
Okay, well, that wasn't about taxes either, Governor, so why don't you just respond?
Well, quickly, two things. First of all, I think the Treasurer's making things up. First of all, July the 7th, 2006, when President Bush came to Chicago to do a fundraiser for Treasurer Topinka, earlier in that day, he touted the U.S. Department of Labor's job growth statistics and pointed out that Illinois was leading the nation in job growth. These aren't my numbers. These are the United States Department of Labor's. Second, she just said there will be no bid contracts. She says it all the time that she doesn't issue no-bid contracts. But the Chicago Tribune reported that that's not true. And then we did some checking. And here's what we've discovered. She's issued more than 300 no-bid contracts while she's been state treasurer to contribute.
Absolutely not
300 no-bid
true.
contracts. More than $52 million in value, raised more than $270,000. Now, how do we get this information? Freedom of Information request. A FOIA, a Freedom of Information request of the Comptroller's Office to show that contrary to everything contracts, it simply isn't true. When you live in a glass house, someone's going to start asking questions, and you got to be held accountable.
You want to respond?
Certainly. We bid all of our contracts in general. I mean, we bid all our contracts. There's just no question about it. And ultimately, too, why we do it is because we get the best value on that. And as a result, we are able to get really good values on the investments that we make and everything else that we do. It is something that should be done in the governor's office, where no-bid contracts have been the order of the day, where wealthy patrons who have helped the governor's fundraising efforts have been able to get these contracts and have enjoyed the good life courtesy of this administration. You know, when you stop and look at it, here we have, and he's living pretty good off of it too, the $1,500 check. How many of us get $1,500 checks to a child, a 7-year-old child? And then, of course, there's a job that comes after it. Allegations of job selling. You know, also, what about this tax break? You know, we're all paying in property tax, and yet the governor's property tax is under 1% when the people in his neighborhood are paying 36%. Don't you think that's strange in the way that this pattern emerges? It is the same pattern that George Ryan went on, and here we are again with the seated governor. Deja vu all over again. Here we are.
Governor, before we move on to another topic, do you want to address that?
Well, again, first of all, I don't know what she's talking about on property taxes. The Cook County assessor decides what the value of my house is worth. I never protest the taxes. We pay all our property taxes. And I'm told that the classification of my house compared to other houses in my neighborhood ranks mine as the second highest assessment. But let me talk about no-bid contracts. The Robbins family, it's a real estate developer in Springfield that has contributed nearly $40,000 to Treasurer Topinka's campaign, gets a no-bid lease from her office. And then shortly after, though that family made contributions to Treasurer Topinka, she actually agreed to pay them more rent, taxpayers' money, to actually increase the rent that she gave to the Robbins family. So when she says and asserts that she doesn't do no-bid contracts, it is patently false and untrue. 300 no-bid contracts, $52 million worth of taxpayers' money. She's raised more than $270,000 from those contributors, and we got that information not because she'll disclose it, because she won't, but because we made a Freedom of Information request to the Comptroller's Office, and the Comptroller's Office released that information.